It's mid-December, and I'm out with my goddaughter Jasmine. She wants to meet Father Christmas, and I'm gonna help her. The last time I saw Santa face to face was over half a century ago when I was a boy. I wonder how things have changed since then. We're in London's Hyde Park, queuing for the Dubai Airlines' greatest grotto ever experience. Jasmine heard about this at school assembly, which I think was sponsored by the airline. Must admit, I was a bit surprised at the cost, but hey, you can't put a price on magic. Well, that wasn't very successful. Jasmine's gone quiet, so I know she's disappointed. Her special present was a junior influencer kit, whatever that means, plus a raffle ticket to win a weekend in the Emirates. And apparently, as her guardian, I was expected to bring along a social media crew to film it all. They claim, if it ain't posted, it ain't happened. But that's not our sort of thing. Ah well, maybe we should try somewhere else. This time, I thought we'd play it safe. There's a church round the corner. I'm sure their grotto will be free of tacky materialism. Ah, we're nearly there. Oh dear. Jasmine, change of plan. Let's head home. How about toasted marshmallows? That was a narrow escape. I mean, Jasmine did see the police van, and she did see Santa in handcuffs, but I don't think she was able to recognize the priest under that beard. Right, time for a new plan. And what a plan we've got. I found a traditional grotto. They say it's the oldie English true Christmas for right-thinking revelers. But this time, Jasmine's a bit suspicious. She says it will just be a bunch of flag shaggers. I don't know what she means. I think she's just upset by all that's gone wrong. What could be better than an event that harks back to the old days? Well, sometimes Jasmine seems a bit more grown up than I am. The first sign of trouble was when we met her friends Samir and Brishti from school. They'd been turned away by the grotto. I don't believe it, said Jasmine. Then, when we got there were a lot of flags, and Santa's outfit had a big cross of St. George on the back. It didn't seem to be an event for children. There were lots of adults standing around drinking cans of lager. A few earnest types were trying to get you to sign up for the bailout Tommy Robinson appeal. Some Americans were there too, with buzz cuts and camo jackets. Anyway, this TV crew from GB News asked to interview Jasmine. I was ready to leave by then, but she coolly said, "Let me talk to them." So I let her. They asked her pointed questions like, "I bet this feels different from school." "What do you mean?" she said. "Well, here you're surrounded by your kind of people, aren't you?" "You mean white?" she said. "Well, yes, people from your background. And how does that make you feel?" She said, "I hate it." They didn't expect that. "'Cause none of my friends are here. You've turned them away. You're just a bunch of nasty monsters." I've never been prouder of Jasmine. They'd picked her for being blonde and sweet. Little did they know. But she's wise too. She then said, "I think it's time for us to go, Uncle Matthew." So off we went. I felt terrible. What kind of godfather am I? What kind of country has this become? I've given Jasmine the worst taste of Christmas. But she didn't seem upset. In fact, she was all fired up. She insisted on baking some cookies and taking them right round to Samir and Brishti. And it was on the way back from their house that I noticed it. There's a small cul-de-sac nearby where every year each house creates its own Christmas window. And the neighbours revealed these day by day like a huge Advent calendar. Early every evening, it's a party, and it's always wonderful. Right now, we've joined a large group of people outside one of the houses. waiting for window number 18 to be revealed. Jasmine is with her friends up at the front. I can see their faces light up as the decorations start to shine. I'm with her parents, sipping mulled wine out of plastic cups. And would you believe it? It's starting to snow. But that's just a snow machine out of the top window. How clever. Now there's silence for the main event. The sitting room window is being transformed into a beautiful wintry scene. And the music's starting. First, some drumming. Oh dear. Not here. Not after all that's happened this dreadful December. Not the big muddler infiltrating this most happy and joyful of scenes. What will Jasmine think? Another disappointment heaped upon all the others. She's turning round to look at her parents and me. She's saying something, but her eyes are wide with excitement. She's saying, "Best Christmas ever!" Heaps of heavenly humbug. Welcome aboard the sleigh. In today's extended show, you'll find listed jokes filling you with festive frivolity. Those fruity pals will be having some fun of their own in The Rest is Jollity. And I'm sorry to report that Denzel Rumpo has promised a special carol of sorts. But today's main feature is a great old spooky tale of midwinter. Will Piper Willy McPhee get home for Christmas? And if he does, will he get home intact? You might want to gather the family for this story treat. But first, some terrible gags. They're old, they're creaky, they need some love, so tell them every day those listed jokes. Last year, I bought my grandma a lie detector for Christmas. I love it, she said. I said, we'll soon see. This year, I bought her a fridge. I can't wait to see her face light up when she opens it. My Christmas decorations are inflatable. I'm forever blowing baubles. Thank you, Tim Vine. And let's thank Joan Rivers for the one thing women don't want to find in their stockings on Christmas morning is their husband. Now, in my family, there's a tradition of a Christmas jumper, and it's always my job to talk them down. Yes, it's a dark time of year, and if you want darker than that, but still hilarious, email me at thebigmuddler@matthewcrampton.com. I've got a festive joke that's certainly not safe for broadcast. Here's a grammatical Christmas joke. Santa's helpers are known as subordinate clauses. Yes. Still on the literary theme, I found a book on the internet last week called How to Hug, which I thought might make a nice Christmas present. It arrived yesterday. You can imagine my disappointment when How to Hug turned out to be Volume 9 of the Oxford English Dictionary. That's a joke for the older folk. Let's end with a Christmas pun. What you call a bunch of board game enthusiasts bragging about their sport in a hotel lobby. Chestnuts boasting in an open foyer. They're old, they're creaky, they need some love, so tell them every day those listed jokes. Let's head down to a little windowless room in the back of Broadcasting House. A pair of old pals have just pooled their ration coupons for a special Christmas lunch before lurching into the studio to record their special festive show. Say goodbye to sadness, bid farewell to fear. dance around the kitchen, have another beer. Outside it may be raining, but that don't bother me. For now the party's started, the rest is jollity. Now, Mellors, I hear you have tattoos all over your shoulders. Yes, and when people are sad, I let them color them in. Why would you do that? Sometimes people just need a shoulder to crayon. Crayon? Haha, that's very good. It reminds me, would you like to look 10 pounds lighter? Of course. Then take your clothes off. I thought you'd never ask. Though that reminds me, I watched you on the newsreel the other day. Ooh. When I was at Butlin's, judging Miss Camber Sands. Yes, Beauties and the Beast. Ouch, that stings. They say the camera adds 10 pounds. They do indeed. So did they have a lot of cameras on you that day? You're on poisonous form today, Mellors. Where's your festive spirit? Right here. Ah, Christmas has started. And gosh, have you unsheathed your ukulele? Yes. Why? I thought I might sing something seasonal. Is that wise? Well, at this time of year, I always get many requests. But I always say no. I'm booked to perform, so perform I will. Boom, boom. And this is my favorite Christmas song. It's your only Christmas song. I know, but it's a classic. Here we go. Old Farmer Brown went to town one day, the sights of the city to see. He met a young widow and, strange to say, fell madly in love with her that day. And then, to the lady's delight, he popped her this question outright. Who's stuffing your turkey this Christmas? Hey! Tell me, I'd like to know now. Who's gonna give you a Christmas kiss under your mistletoe bough? I say. And who will be pulling your cracker and sniffing under your tree? No. Who's stuffing your turkey this Christmas? Oh, darling, please let it be me. Well, Mellors, I don't think that's going to be a Christmas Day #1. Really? It's more like a Boxing Day #2. Whether you're cooking on gas today. Then again, Mellors, Christmas really hasn't started till you dig out that old chestnut. Talking of old chestnuts, I was thinking of getting you some underpants for Christmas. I don't know what you're talking about. Mine are a youthful pair, always ready to bounce into action. That may be sooner than you think. What? Down there. What do you mean? I think some adjustment might be needed. You're not making sense. I see what you mean. Yes, the zip. Dear listener, you're so lucky this is only an auditory experience. The cage may be open, but the lion is sleeping. As are the cubs. That's put a lot of people off their mince pies, saving the nation from gluttony, one fly adjustment at a time. Talking of adjusting flies, as I was, last week's Saveloy is still in the rubbish bin. Which one's that? The one you brought in from the stall in Berwick Street, after you'd been celebrating with Billy Blinders. Still in the bin, you say? Yes, and now it's got company. Company? Of the buzzing kind. Listener, you wouldn't believe what an animal is worth, Matravers. He should be sent to the zoo. I might find better conversation there. You'd certainly feel at home. Mellors, I'm detecting a harsh note in you today. I've half a mind to go... You've half a mind? We're agreed on that. I'm considering not giving you your Christmas present. You've bought one? Well, I wouldn't go that far. But it's amazing what you can find in the props cupboard. Like last year. What was it last year? I can't remember. I can. It can't have been that bad. It was. Oh, now I recall. I'm sorry about that, but the props Johnny assured me it had never been opened. But it had been opened. Yes, and filled with something human and disgusting. You've got to take a man at his word. No, you took the man and his turd. Yes, very witty. Listener, let me report that Worth Matravers is currently looking more sheepish than a hillside in the Yorkshire Dales. Hello, you lucky people. It's Billy Blinders here from sister podcast The Rest is Bananas. And I'd like to tell you about my New Year's Eve special. Come and hoot with me nanny. Yes, once again, despite popular demand, we'll celebrate with some cheeky chappies. Music, jokes, bananas. Why not join us to see off the year in style? But whatever you do, don't tell those pillocks from The Rest is Jollity. Ah, me cuties, keep it on the QT. Oh dear, the season of goodwill may be about to come to an end. Our West of England correspondent has insisted on joining us with a festive message. So, here with his damn flute is the Bard of Camborne, so called because there's barely a pub in that town where he's not been barred. It's Denzel Rumpo. Hello, my dearios. I've got a question for you. Why is Santa's sack so big? 'Cause he only comes once a year. Oh, don't worry, Mr. Muddler. I'll be clean from now on. I just had to squeeze that one out, so to speak. Now, I'd like to sing you a song, a Christmas song, and it was taught to me by my old Uncle Sid. You know, Rambling Sid Rumpo, and it's a carol of sorts. Good King Borislav looked out on the night of grunges, saw them whirling round about, armed with rubber plungers. Brightly shone their artifacts, red their possets glowing. He knew not from where they came, but he knew where they were going. They don't write them like that anymore. I should like now to tell the true story of how Rudolph got his red nose. Sadly, I don't think we have time for that. Let's put Denzel Rumpo back where he belongs, deep inside a concrete casing on the Truro bypass. Now, on with the show. And you may be wondering, what's happened to the great crustaceans? Well, they're not appearing today. No. You see, crustaceans don't celebrate Christmas. It's just not part of their thing. But we do have something rather special for you now. It's a spooky story for midwinter. 17 minutes of tingling delight. So, why not pause the show, gather the family, light a candle, dim the lights, then snuggle up on the sofa for a tale called New Boots for Willy McPhee. There was once a fellow named Willy McPhee, and he played the pipes. He played the big pipes, the war pipes, the scary pipes. He also played the Ulan pipes, the little ones you squeeze under your elbow. And people loved to hear him play. Wherever he went, he would declare, "My name is Willy McPhee. I'm the finest of pipers, and if you'll give me a hot meal and a place to lay my head, I'll be happy to play for you." And wherever he said that, doors opened. Now one spring, as he sat at his home in the Highlands of Scotland, he thought, I'd like to travel all around this island. And he headed south, through the lowlands, into England, then down the eastern side through East Anglia, And everywhere he went, he said, "My name is Willy McPhee. I'm the finest of pipers, and if you'll give me a hot meal and a place to lay my head, I'll be happy to play for you." And doors opened everywhere he went, all the way down to London, and all the way down to Cornwall, which he reached in midsummer. A good time to be in Cornwall. I'm a lucky man, thought Willy McPhee, but what if one day my luck runs out, a door does not open, and I have no place to stay? But he remained lucky all the way up north through Wales. By this stage, his clothes were getting a bit ragged. There were holes in the elbows of his jacket. There were holes in the knees of his trousers. And there were holes in the soles of his shoes. But still, the doors opened. By the time he got back to Scotland, the winter had started. And by the time he reached the Highlands, it was the middle of winter. The ground was frozen hard. And one day, one afternoon, he realized to his horror, "My fear has come true. I have nowhere to spend this night. I won't be home for Christmas. I may never return home at all." It was now 3 p.m. and already it was dark. He was out on the moor with no houses in sight. The snow was coming down so hard he was whited out. Have you ever been in such a situation? It may be dark, but still you see white on all sides, and this plays a trick with your mind. You cannot tell where you are, and what is up and what is down. And remember, he had no place to stay that night. As he worried about this, thinking, "Willy McPhee, what's going to become of me? You'll not see another Christmas," he tripped on something, and he looked down. There appeared to be a log stretched across the road. "Oh dear," he said, "that's no good. I'd better move it. Some poor cart is going to run over this log. Some poor horse might break its leg, so I'll pull it out of the way." He bent down and brushed the snow off it. But as he did so, he realized it was not a log. It was a body. The body of a man, quite dead, quite frozen. And he thought, this poor fellow. He shouldn't lie here and be trodden on or ridden over. The least I can do is drag him off the road. So he took the man by the feet. Now, as I'm sure you know, a frozen body is a heavy thing. But somehow he managed to pull it off the road, and as he pulled it, he had a hold of the feet, and he looked down and he saw the boots he was holding were brown, leather, soft, and new. And he looked down at his own poor shoes. They were flapping in the wind, and the snow was seeping through the bottom. And he looked at the boots he was holding, and he thought, these look like they might fit me. After all, they're not doing this fellow any good. I've done him a favor. I've moved him off the road. So he knelt down there in the dark, with the snow pouring down, and he tried to pull them off. Now, as I'm sure you know, once a frozen foot is entwined within a frozen boot, they'll ne'er be separated. And that indeed is what happened. Try as he did, he could not remove the boots. And he thought, you know, it seems a terrible thing to leave these boots where nobody can use them. And then Willy McPhee had an idea. He remembered that in his bag he had a little toolkit that he used to fix his pipes. And in that toolkit there was a wee little hacksaw. Then he looked at the dead fellow and he said, I'm awfully sorry, but at least your boots are going to do some good. And there, with the snow all around, he knelt down. He took the saw and he measured a spot about an inch up the shin from the boot, and he started to saw. Now, as I'm sure you know, it's not an easy matter to saw through a frozen leg. But also, as I'm sure you know, there isn't any blood, for it's frozen. It's a bit like sawing through a frozen leg of New Zealand lamb. The process took some time, but after a while, he got those boots off with the feet within them. He tied the laces together and he hung them around his neck, and he said to himself, "I'll thaw them out when I find somewhere warm. If I find somewhere warm. Otherwise, I too shall become a body frozen out on the road." Well, he hadn't walked far, maybe a mile or so, when in the distance, up on a hill, he saw a little croft. And he saw a little light coming out of the window, and the light was golden and warm and inviting, and he said, "Willy McPhee, you're a lucky man. This may be a place to stay." So he waded through the snow up to the croft, but before he knocked on the door, he thought he should first take a look inside. So he wiped the frost off the window, and he looked through, and it was so comfy within. There was a big fire burning in the fireplace, and there was a man and a woman just sitting down at the table, and they had these pots of hot, steaming stew, and he started to salivate, and he thought, "Willy McPhee, you're a lucky man. Once again, you've found a place to lay your head." And he went over and was about to knock on the door when he remembered the boots hanging around his neck. He quickly hid them in his bag, and he knocked. Nobody answered. Maybe they didn't hear me, he thought, so again he knocked, this time a little louder. Finally, the door was flung open, and there was a big man looking down who said, "What do you want?" So he said, "My name is Willy McPhee. I'm the finest of pipers, and if you'll give me a hot meal and a place to lay my head, I'll be happy to play for you." And the man said, "I'm not interested," and he shut the door. You should have seen Willy's face. He was thinking, how could he do that? Leave me out in the cold on a night like this? And he pounded again on the door, and again the man flung it open. He said, "Are you still here? What do you want?" And he said, "I'm Willy McPhee. I'm the finest of pipers, and I want to play the pipes for you." And the man looked at him, and the man said, "I hate the pipes." And once again the man shut the door in his face. Willy could not believe it. This man was going to leave him to die in the cold. And he knocked once more on the door and shouted, "Please, I don't want to freeze to death. Won't you let me in to get warm?" And the man opened the door again, but this time only a little, and he said, "There's no room in the house. But there's a barn round the side, and if you want, you can go back there. Mind you don't disturb the cow, and you may sleep in the hay in the loft. My wife will be along to check on the cow in a while. If there's any spare food, she'll bring some out to you." And he shut the door. Willy still couldn't believe this. But a hayloft's better than nothing, so he waded through the snow to the barn. He kicked away the drift beside the door. He opened the door quickly to let himself in, shut it behind him, and there he saw the cow, Bessie. She was lying down in the corner, her head curled round like a dog curls up, and she was asleep. But contentedly, in her sleep, she was chewing on the cud. Just then, Willy remembered the boots in his bag. He took them out and wondered, what am I going to do with these? Then he noticed that Bessie, the cow, was like a big furnace. So he took the boots and he stuck them under Bessie. Now, as I'm sure you know, there's an optimum time for defrosting feet within boots. It must be long enough for you to be able to remove them, but not so long that the feet start to get bloody. Well, Willy McPhee got it just right. 16.5 minutes. Then he pulled those feet out, he took his old boots off, he put the new ones on, and they fit like a pair of gloves. He thought of the poor fellow out there on the road and he said, "Thank you very much, sir." Then he put the old feet into the old boots. But just at that moment, he heard something. My goodness, he realized, that's the woman coming to see to the cow. What shall I do? And what did he do? Well, Willy McPhee had an idea. He took the old boots with the old feet within, and he stuffed them into the mouth of Bessie, stump first. And Bessie, still sleeping, suckled on those stumps of feet quite contentedly, like popsicles. Willy climbed the ladder and hid in the loft, and he listened out. He heard the door being forced open in the snow, and he heard the woman come in, and he heard the woman say, "Hello, Bessie, how are you?"
Bessie,
"Oh, my God, John, the cow has eaten the piper." The man came rushing over, saying, "What are you talking about, woman?" And she said, "Look, those are his boots." And he looked, and he said, "You know, you're right. This is terrible. If they find out, there's no telling. We're going to have to bury what's left of him right now." So they dragged those feet out. They got a shovel, and they waded out into the field, and there, in this blizzard, they dug a hole, and they buried those two poor feet in there, and they covered it over, and they went back to their house. Willy watched all of this, and he had another idea. He got out his big pipes, the war pipes, the scary pipes, and he tuned them up. Then he went outside and stood still for 15 minutes until he was covered in snow. Then he went over to the place where the feet were buried, and the snow was pouring down, covering his head, his shoulders, the pipes, and he started to play. Now, I wasn't there, but I'm sure this was the finest concert that Willy McPhee ever played. Meanwhile, the man and woman were about to go to bed. They were about to retire when the woman said, "What is that sound?" And they looked out the window. And standing out there was a white figure playing the pipes. And the man says, "It's the ghost of the piper. He's come to haunt us. We've got to get out of here." And they put what little they had in a bag, and they rushed down the road, and they were never seen again. So Willy McPhee, what does he do? Well, he puts the pipes back in their bag. He shuffles over to the croft. He goes in. And what does he find? He finds a bottle of whiskey. He pours himself a wee dram and sits down in front of the fire, roasting his shins, saying, "Aren't I a lucky man?" Then he remembers. The stew. Of course, the stew, and it's still warm. And he pours himself a bowl. He takes it over to the table. He finds a spoon. He is so looking forward to this stew. And he's just lifting the spoon. He's just about to tuck in when there's a knock on the door. He thinks, who could be out on a night like this? It must be some traveller. Well, I shall show them some proper hospitality. And he opens the door. There before him stands a man, a short man, completely covered in snow, so covered you can barely make out his face. But what you can see of his skin is as pale as the snow, with his eyes darkly set within. And this short little fellow, he speaks. He says, "I want to come in." And Willy McPhee says, "Certainly, you poor fellow, out on a night like this. Come in and warm your feet by the fire." And the man says, "Well, there's a problem with that." And he looks down. And Willy looks down. And he sees the man has no feet. And that is the story of new boots for Willy McPhee. Well, I hope you enjoyed that tale. If you'd like more stories like that, do get in touch. The Big Muddler will be back in the new year, so long as Matthew Crampton is chief curator. And I use that word in the correct sense, as this show is little more than a museum of misplaced mirth and misanthropy, so long as Mr. Crampton survives the calorific ingestion of coming weeks. Good luck yourselves. See you on the other side.